Up to 100 motorcycles brought traffic to a standstill today as hearses and Harley-Davidsons rode in formation for the funeral of slain Rebels boss, Nick Martin. Police tracked their every movement from the ground. Nick Martin was huge, not just in size but in reputation. He was called the Man Mountain for a reason, towering nearly 6 feet 5 inches, built like a fortress. For years he was unstoppable until he wasn't. On December 12, 2020, during the Perth Motorplex drag races, nearly 2,000 spectators filled the stands under the glare of floodlights. Somewhere in the shadows, a sniper waited. At 8:30 p.m., from 335 meters away, one breath, one squeeze of the trigger, and one bullet ended Nick Martin's reign. "Babe, I've been shot," he told his wife before slumping forward in his seat. Nick Martin was born in 1969 in the UK to Sid and R. Martin. When he was just 6 months old, the family moved to Australia. His childhood was simple and free, riding bikes on dusty roads, climbing trees, and exploring the bush. There were no mobile phones, no internet, just open skies and unopen ground. Nick didn't fall into the outlaw world out of hardship or desperation. Some men are made for rules, others are made to break them. At 17, he left school, left home, and walked into that life on his own terms. His first job was as a nightclub bouncer, dealing with Perth's roughest crowds. By 18, he was already on the police radar. In 1988, he was arrested for dangerous driving. In 1996, he was fined for assault after a fight in a nightclub. His clashes with the law only deepened his ties to the outlaw world. It didn't take long for Nick to climb the ranks of the Rebels Motorcycle Club in Perth. By 2005, with the club's longtime leader imprisoned, Nick seized the opportunity to lead. By 2008, he was effectively running Western Australia with an iron grip. He swapped the classic biker denim for designer streetwear, reshaping the image of an outlaw leader. In 2011, he officially became WA President of the Rebels. Under his command, the Rebels weren't just bikers, they were an empire. He expanded influence into New Zealand, fought off rival gangs like the Rock Machine MC, and openly challenged police raids. The outlaw world is built on loyalty, and betrayal is fatal. In 2010, his close friend Mario Pin was murdered, a message that even Nick's allies weren't untouchable. By 2018, cracks appeared. Allegations surfaced that Nick was misusing club funds. Internal mutiny forced him to step down, but he kept influence through trusted allies. Rivals saw weakness. One of the most public blows came in November 2020 when he clashed with Dine Briovic, the Hells Angels sergeant-at-arms. CCTV captured Briovic dominating the fight, and on the night of December 12, 2020, the sniper, later revealed as a 34-year-old former Special Forces soldier, took up position. He had scouted the motorplex for weeks, identified Martin's usual seat, and cut a hole in the fence to slip in unnoticed. The .308 caliber bullet traveled over 3 football fields, hitting Martin in the torso. The shot passed through him, wounding Ricky Chapman, the partner of Martin's stepdaughter, and grazing his young step-grandson. This was no random act. It was a precision hit, planned and executed with military discipline. Investigations revealed the order came from David Pye, a former rebel-turned-senior figure in the rival Comancheros. Once allies, their relationship had turned into open hostility. Pye hired the sniper for the job. Meticulous planning, weeks of surveillance, and a cold, clean execution in front of thousands. The hit sent shockwaves through Australia's outlaw world. The message was clear. No one, not even the Man Mountain, was untouchable. The same sniper was lined up to work again. Another payment, another target, another shift in power. But before the second act could unfold, both the sniper and David Pye were arrested. When the case went to trial, the evidence was overwhelming. The marksman, once a ghost, was unmasked as a former Special Forces soldier who had turned into an assassin for hire. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, with parole possible after 18. His decision to cooperate, especially his willingness to testify against Pye, spared him from a harsher sentence. Pye now faced trial for orchestrating the execution of a man he had once called a brother, Nick Martin. Once allies in the Rebels Motorcycle Club, their bond had collapsed into deadly rivalry. Martin's pending legal battles, extortion, tax evasion, and allegations involving his wife Amanda were dismissed. A dead man cannot stand trial. The focus shifted to the chaos left in his wake. The sniper's work was not a sloppy street hit. It was cold, calculated violence executed with military precision. After the shot, he did not run. He methodically disposed of gear, replaced the barrel of his rifle to avoid forensic matches, and vanished. But science eventually caught up. Ballistics matched the bullet, rare footwear prints were identified, and phone data established the timeline. Investigators also found $150,000 hidden in PVC pipes, blood money that led directly back to Pye, nicknamed the Baker. He was accused of ordering Martin's killing and plotting others, including the murder of a rival Comanchero leader. The elaborate power grab collapsed. In December 2021, the sniper pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including murder. His cooperation came with conditions. If he ever refused to testify against Pye, his sentence could be increased. Pye's trial, delayed until 2025, remains a volatile case. Martin's death wasn't just a personal feud, it was a seismic change in Australia's outlaw biker world. Almost overnight, police pressure intensified, surveillance expanded, and politicians began pushing for stronger anti-gang laws. Inside the rebels, the loss was devastating. Martin wasn't just a leader, he was the stabilizing force in Western Australia. His death left the local chapter fractured. The national leadership scrambled to appoint a new WA president, but it was too late. Internal conflict erupted. Members defected. Rivals like the Comancheros and Hells Angels moved quickly to claim territory. The ultimate blow came when Martin's successor in WA defected to the Comancheros, the very group linked to Martin's killing. Rebel dominance in the region collapsed. Martin's assassination unleashed chaos. Rival gangs surged forward to carve up his former territory. Law enforcement launched Operation REL, one of Western Australia's largest policing efforts, uniting over 100 officers from homicide, gang crime, and intelligence units with a single mission: shut it down. This was more than an investigation, it was a crackdown. Raids targeted clubhouses, stash houses, and known associates. The message was clear: no more business as usual. Martin's public execution became the catalyst for some of the toughest anti-bikie laws in Australia's history. Wearing club colors, insignia, or tattoos in public was banned, punishable by up to 12 months in prison. Anti-consorting laws were tightened. Being seen with known gang members could now lead to charges. Police powers expanded dramatically. Officers began breaking up gatherings, making arrests for displaying colors, and keeping close surveillance on key figures. The Bikie War was no longer just between gangs. The government was now an active combatant. On December 23, 2020, Martin's farewell became a public statement. A roaring convoy of rebel bikers rolled through Perth, trailed by police patrols and aerial surveillance. Officers mingled with mourners, watching for any sign of violence. Martin's casket, wrapped in $100 bills, was carried with pride and defiance. Inside the service, another side of Martin emerged. To his family, he was a husband, father, and friend. To the outlaw world, he was a criminal titan. Martin's killing was the beginning of an open war between two forces that could not coexist: the outlaw underworld and the state. The sniper's bullet lit the fuse, the crackdown brought the fire. Before his death, Martin looked like a figure pulled from a crime novel, broad-shouldered, tattooed, and feared across the country. His clashes with the law and rival gangs only strengthened his legend, but it was his death, not his life, that made him a household name. A sniper's bullet ended him not in a back alley, but in front of families at a public event. It was surgical, cold, and brazen, a declaration that no one was safe. Today, the sniper serves a 20-year sentence. Pye, accused of ordering the hit and plotting other murders, has yet to face trial. Meanwhile, Amanda Martin and her daughter have filed a lawsuit against the Western Australian government, claiming it failed to protect the public at the Motorplex that night. Nick Martin's life embodied the violence, brotherhood, and power of Australia's outlaw motorcycle scene. His death shattered the illusion of Bikie invincibility. It forced the country to ask hard questions. How do you police organizations that operate outside the law but within society? How do you stop a war with no rules? Martin's assassination was more than the end of a man. It was the moment Australia realized the fight was already on its streets.